Happy Thursday. My name is Janae. I use she, her pronouns.
Likes he, they, she pronouns.
Welcome to Creating Change 2025, day 2.
Day 2, we in here.
Hey.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath in and exhale.
Not in somebody's face, though. Keep your breath to yourself.
Take another deep breath in and exhale. All right. Okay. I need somebody to say, we get there together.
We get there together. I think that's us. Okay, so we're going to do it again. One more time. Go.
We get there together.
We get there together.
Or we never get there at all.
Or we never get there at all.
We get there together.
We get there together.
Or we never get there at all.
We never get there at all.
All right, let's try that. It goes like this. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. Let me hear people say, we get there together or never get there at all.
Come on, y'all, a little bit louder. Let's go.
We get there together or never get there at all.
Y'all sound good. Come on.
We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. Only sing it if you believe it, though. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We are the children of the ones who did not die. And we are the children of the people who could fly. And we are the children of the ones who persevere. We are fearless. We are strong. And we're ready to carry on.
Ready to carry
I say
on.
we're ready to carry on.
Ready to carry on.
I say we're ready to carry on.
Ready to carry on.
I say we're ready to carry on. I say we're ready to carry on. I say we're ready to carry on. Can y'all say that? Say we ready to carry on.
We ready to carry on.
I'm ready to carry on.
I'm ready to carry
I'm
on.
ready to carry on.
I'm ready to carry on.
Ready to carry on. We get there together or never get there at all.
Y'all hear that? We're going to get there together or never at all.
Together or never get there at all. We
get there together or never
get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all.
Yeah, we backstage. We live backstage right now.
We live,
We
y'all.
hear you. We can't see you, but you see us. But we hear you. You know what I'm saying? My nephew says I is illness, we is wellness. That's a smart. Y'all, I hear you. I is illness, we is wellness. That means ain't nothing going to really succeed. Ain't nothing really succeeding without the we of us. And so we really got to get there together. Okay, we there. Once again, I'm Janae.
I'm Jonathan.
Hey, you backstage with the J&J.
Hey, all the way.
Check out the 6 Man if you never have, Kadeem Hardison, Marlon Wayans. Okay, this isn't a plug for them. The point is, what we're trying to do here at the task force with Creating Change in the Care A Lot program is to talk about how we keep us safe. Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us
We
safe?
keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
I'm just saying, safety belongs to all of us.
Absolutely.
It don't look like a certain type of body. It don't look like a certain type of person. Safety is all of our responsibility. So here at Creating Change for the 2nd year in a row, we have a thing called Care A Lot, which is broken down into 3 parts. If you've been to the Care Bear station, make some noise. Hey! If you've seen the the bear that might be out on an overnight evening trip that has not returned.
Where's the bear? The pink
Make
bear
some noise.
is on a journey.
Okay. Let me know if you see the pink bear, not the one in the rotunda, but the other one. We miss you. We hope you're having a good time out there. We love you very much. Woo, fuzzies. All right, so we are doing the Care Bear desk behind the scenes to amplify all the many things it takes to make this work. The hundreds of people who have been working around the clock to build this container with us together. And then lastly, through political education workshops. But first, I want to introduce y'all to the one and only, the person who is responsible for all things Feed Loop. Give it up for Yinka, y'all. Yinka, 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 Yinka. Hey. Okay, Yinka. Introduce yourself. Tell us about this app. They told me it's not like the birds. That might not be real. Birdsaren'treal.com. Just saying.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yinka. Pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm all things Feed Loop. All things Feed Loop. So anything having to do with the app, that's me.
Okay, so Yinka, can you give us some hot tips about the app?
Yes. One of my favorite hot tips is the event feed. So if you pull up your app, you scroll down, you'll see an event feed. I think the last thing that was posted was me about the lost bear. Sorry about that. But
I mean, he's not lost. He's just on a field trip. The bear's just on a field trip. We don't know which field trip. Hopefully the bear will come back from that field trip. We miss you very much.
I did post a thing about the bear going on their field trip. So the app is the event feed is a great way to share how you are experiencing creating change in real time. Think of it as our own personal in real time social media feed. So take a picture of your cute outfit for tonight. You went out to eat yesterday, take a picture, put it on the app. Let us know. It's just a great way to just introduce yourself to others and let us know what you're doing. So hot tip.
Hot tip. Feed Loop app to keep up with the feed. I feel it. That's a real good one. Okay. Last question that I have for you is, we're a safety crew. We're really trying to amplify the safety. How does a conference app increase or amplify safety?
That's a really good question. And part of my job here with the app is to make sure that we all feel very safe, very comfortable, right? One of the ways that the app keeps you safe is maps. So maps, right? We all need to know where we're going. We need to know where the rooms are, where the conference spaces are. So you can pull up the map on the app. You see where all the conference rooms are, where you're supposed to be. Also the schedule, right? Save it, bookmark it. Know you're supposed to be in this room at 3 p.m. If your friend's looking for you, you can share that with them. They know you're supposed to be in that room at 3 p.m. too. Location sharing.
Okay, this is great. Give it up for Yinka. Thank you, All Things Feed Loop. Okay, now I know that you've met Yinka now, and I just want to say you might have Feed Loop questions. There's a courteous way to possibly ask these Feed Loop questions when you see Yinka in the hallway. And I just want to say, maybe not running up on Yinka, like, hey, just be a little calmer. Like, hey, Yinka, hey, girl, I heard that you might know how to use these buttons. Hook me up, something like that. Okay, we're about to watch a video. I'll be back. See you in a few.
Hi, y'all. I'm Mira Rajput from the National LGBTQ Task Force.
Hi, I'm Kenya Whitaker from the National LGBTQ Task Force, and we're here today to talk about the EO regarding birthright citizenship. So, Mira, less than 24 hours of Trump's inauguration, he releases a EO, which stands for Executive Order, that challenges birthright citizenship. Tell me your thoughts on it.
So, Kenya, that's a great question. Birthright citizenship is the principle that every child born in the United States is a U.S. citizen. And that principle comes from the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which guarantees U.S. citizenship to every child born in the U.S., regardless of race, class, or creed.
Okay, so what is Trump's whole deal with this EO and trying to take away birthright citizenship from those born on U.S. soil? Like, can he do that? And what impact does it have, if any, on the U.S. Constitution?
That's a great question, Kenya. So The short answer is that no, President Trump and his executive order cannot modify or revoke any part of the Constitution, including birthright citizenship. Neither the Constitution nor federal statute gives the president any authority to change part of the Constitution. So in reality, this executive order does not have an impact on the Constitution. We want to make that very clear.
And also, in part of making it clear is that in order to change the Constitution, there has to be an amendment. And the only way in which a Constitution can be amended is through Congress, where they propose an amendment. 2/3 of the House and the Senate must approve, and then it must go to the states, where 38 out of the 50 states must ratify the amendment. So it's an extremely long process, and the last time that an amendment has been ratified was in 1992 with the 27th Amendment.
That's right, Kenya. And I just want to point out that right after the executive order dropped, both immigration groups such as ACLU and the Legal Defense Fund and 22 state AGs sued over the enforcement of the executive order, essentially saying that his action was unconstitutional and that he can't ratify or change the Constitution, and that it goes against American values.
So essentially what we have on our hands is Trump trying to change the way in which American history has been developed, and he's going to have a really long, hefty battle to do that. I would even say it's almost impossible.
That's right.
So thank you. We hope that you join us again, where we get to analyze and discuss executive orders, and make sure you follow the task force for more updates. Bye.
Bye.
After me, say, let my people go.
People go.
Set my people free.
Set my people free.
I'm letting my people know.
I'm letting my people know.
I love you like you were me.
I love you like. They didn't hear you at the
That was
beginning.
cute.
Do it again.
That
Do it
was
again.
cute. We're going to try it one more time. Let's get a little holistic energy in our bodies. Everybody take a deep breath in and exhale. Say, let my people go and set my people free.
Set my people free.
I'm letting my people know.
I'm letting my people know.
I love you like you were me.
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 I love you like family.
I love you like family.
I love you like family.
I love you. You are my family.
Ashe. Clap it up for yourselves. You sound beautiful.
That was dope. And you look good in what you got on. You see my eyes, I'm just flirting with you a little bit because I just want you to know.
Just a little bit.
You matter to me exactly the way you are, exactly how you are. And we're so glad that you are here. For real. Okay. The next.
Hi, y'all.
Girl, no, I just got really, I love you. Okay, for real. All right, so the next group that we're going to bring up are Starbucks United Workers and SEIU, Neha and Evan.
Clap it up, clap it up.
Yo, this is huge. First of all, I feel like I'm with like the union labor organizers of the labor organizers. Come a little bit closer to me this way. You know, the ones of the ones. You know how they one-on-one? That's y'all. Okay. The point is, we're great to have y'all back. For those who don't know who you are, didn't meet you last year, this was the person who said some things from, they had our backs on stage. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you be doing?
Hi, I'm Neha, she, her. This is Evan, he, him. And we're members of Starbucks Workers United. Wow, I'm
You members of
blushing.
what again?
What was it?
What'd you say you members of?
Starbucks Workers United.
Boom.
We're Starbucks workers organizing our workplaces. We're fighting for a livable wage, affordable healthcare, better staffing, and a safer workplace. And in case you couldn't tell from the septum ring and the haircut,
Come on from the septum ring
we're a
and the
union. What was it?
I'm just talking to your septum ring in your head. Go ahead.
We're a union led by queer and trans workers. In fact, the Starbucks workers who are here this time are all members of our union's Trans Rights Action Committee. Listen, we know that this incoming administration is not going to protect us. Frankly, we protect us, right? And so as trans healthcare is under attack nationwide, we're fighting to codify gender-affirming care, make it accessible and affordable. We're fighting for a comprehensive non-discrimination policy. We're fighting for an inclusive dress code and so much more. Protections of a
Yes. Okay. Do you want to add? Look, use this one.
Yeah, so I am one of the delegates who is part of the Trans Rights Action Committee, and I'm happy to be here as well to support, but Neha is definitely one of the leaders of track, and I want to give her props for starting this all, so yeah.
Thank you. Okay, last question. I mean, I'm just hearing from the audience. We all deserve dignity and respect to be inside our workplaces with a livable wage. Can we say livable wage? A livable wage. Also, fuck capitalism. And let's be clear that the cost of living increases because of capitalists. Okay? All right. All right, so I just want to ask this last question. You know, I'm trying to stay on task, but I got my own opinions. All right. How can all of us support your work continually?
Here is how you can support our queer-led, trans-led movement, Starbucks Workers United. First of all, you can sign our no contract, no coffee pledge. I believe it's going to get shown. I'm not sure, though. I can't see it. If you scan that QR code, if not, we'll have it around throughout the thing. You see people wearing this shirt or any sort of Starbucks Workers United shirt, they'll definitely have it for you. Basically, it is a commitment to support our movement, and it keeps you looped in with all of our little shenanigans. Our union has done tremendous efforts to support the LGBTQ plus community, and we know you'll have our backs as well. That's why we're hoping that you can take it back to your organizations and show them what we've been up to and hopefully garner that support as well. Thank you for having us at Creating Change. We really appreciate this opportunity.
Yes. Yes, yo, give it up for folks. Give it up. Okay, I got a little bit more questions. Give it up. Okay. How does labor and union organizing keep queer people safe?
Yeah, I mean, listen, so we managed to bring Starbucks to the bargaining table like back in April. We've been in bargaining with them for like 9 months at this point, right? And like things were going well up until this new CEO, Brian Nickel, came in. And I think that like what's happening with Starbucks Workers United is kind of a reflection of what's happening nationally, right? This like pivot to the right. And so they just like kind of stopped bargaining with us. Their last economic offer was like basically no raises specifically for union workers, no changes to benefits. They didn't even mention gender affirming care, right? Like it was like, are you like for real?
Like, do better. Say do better. Do better.
Do better. Meanwhile, they gave this new CEO like $113 million. And it's like, you can't even guarantee gender affirming healthcare for us while all of this is happening. It's messed up.
Yes.
And so without a union, there's not a lot we could have done to fight this kind of policy shift at Starbucks. But because of our union, we said, screw that. And in less than a week after we got that offer, we organized the biggest ULP strike in Starbucks history.
Yes.
It was like 300 plus stores, 5,000
300 plus
workers.
stores.
That's wild. On Christmas Eve.
Yes.
We made Starbucks bleed. We hit them where it hurts.
Oh, that's what I heard.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh.
No.
And I was just saying, and like we're just getting started, frankly. I mean, like Listen, we know that queer and trans people are disproportionately like working in the service industry. We know that we're disproportionately impacted by poverty. Like Starbucks had a real opportunity to like actually do something to improve the material conditions of queer and trans people. And instead, just like this incoming administration, they threw our community to the wolves. But again, we're fighting back. We're refusing to let them like take advantage of us.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
That's how we keep us safe.
Exactly,
That's how we
exactly.
build people power, right?
Right,
Thank you
right.
so much for sharing, y'all. Give it up for Neha and Evan and the Starbucks Union. Yes.
Y'all are
Okay.
always so sweet to us. You're making me blush.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to get ready to get to our next little video. We're going to show another video, a quick little something. Yep. Oh, we might not be doing that. Okay, we are doing it. It's cool. We live. Everybody say we live. And we building people power, right? We building people power, right? Okay. I'm going to go. I'll be back.
Welcome to Creating Change 2025.
Bienvenidos a la conferencia Creando Cambio 2025. Soy Jamila Craig de Jami Linguists. Soy una mujer negra de piel oscura, de color canela, con un piercing en el septo de mi nariz. Llevo una jaqueta negra con una camiseta negra, pintalabio rojo y una pulsera de color roja, negra, verde y amarilla, aretes negros con un puño de poder negro.
I'm Hunter Williams of Evolution of Signs. I'll provide a visual description. I have a blue background, a pageboy cap, glasses, mustache and beard. I have a black polo short sleeve shirt. I have black earrings and I have rings. I am a black, deaf, blind, trans masculine individual. I am Gloshonda, lawyer, owner of Cocoa Language Advocacy and Consulting. I'm a Black femme. I have a black head wrap. I have gold earrings with a hanging tail. I have gold septum, nose piercing, and vertical labrae. I'm wearing a black blouse that's long sleeve and it has a V-neck with a black necklace that holds a crystal.
Las plenarias son el único espacio que no requiere una solicitud específica para servicios de interpretación. La interpretación para talleres e institutos se brindará bajo solicitud. Para quienes necesiten interpretación protáctil de lengua de señas estadounidense o en español, la mejor forma de acceder es 1. Únete al grupo de WhatsApp para tu idioma preferido. Utiliza los códigos QR aquí, en el mostrador de registro o en el espacio de la conferencia. Los 3 son protáctil, lengua de señas estadounidense o ASL y español. 2. Aprovecha de la tecnología disponible. Descarga FeedLoop. Para interpretación simultánea en español, también descarga la aplicación Live Voice. Además del equipo portátil de interpretación, la aplicación Live Voice se utilizará en algunas sesiones en español. 3. Una vez que has hecho todo eso, presta atención a las comunicaciones en FeedLoop y WhatsApp. Cuenta con nosotros. Compartiremos un enlace para que compartes tu programa de la conferencia y lo tomaremos desde ahí en WhatsApp.
Oh, we get there together or never get there at all. For those who just walked in, I need you to repeat this with me. Say, we get there together or never get there at all. But you have to believe it. You got to say, we get there together or we never get there at all. We get there together.
We get there together.
Or we never get there at all.
We never get there at all.
Oh, we get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. I want this in your head. You get there together or never get there at all.
Y'all see that bounce?
When you leave here, you gotta say, get there together or never get there at all. One last time. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. Get there together or never get there at all.
That's what we do.
We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all.
Well, someone who's about to join the stage, Serena Sebring, she said, once in a circle with me, you're always in a circle. Once you're in a circle with someone, you're always in a circle. It might get wider, it might get smaller, but we in this together.
Well, they know who's
For everybody who's in this room right now, I just need you to know, I got you, you got me, and we in this together forever. And I'm ready. We ready. We about to introduce the greatest journalist, authoress, fashionista, cultural force of nature.
Your MC.
Hey, Trayville
Anderson.
See y'all.
The way they riff off shit, they just hear, okay, this is what who the panels are, this is what they do, these are the people, and then they just go. This is the shit that's going down, and like, blah, blah, okay, bam, here's some music, here's a quote, it's cultural. Yeah. Did you hear you got a shout out from the stage? That was delicious.
And I was like,
props.
So we were also confused.
Yeah.
I was too. I was like, oh,
Trayville's been. No, we still don't hear you. No, we still don't hear you. No. Okay.
All right. Oh.
Hey!
Praise the Lord.
there we go.
Praise the Lord, saints. Thank y'all for bearing with us. Okay. My name's Trayville.
They was up there carrying on too.
Wow. I love my people. I do love my people.
They were talking.
As I was saying, we're going to try one more time. My name is Trayville Anderson. I use they, them pronouns. How y'all doing today? Okay. Have y'all been enjoying your day of convention? Yes. Okay, so do me a favor. Text all your cousins and them, your siblings and the rest of them who ain't here, and tell them this the one that they need to be at. Okay, because there's a lot going on out there. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to the news. There's a lot going on. And the plenary conversation that we will have in just a few short moments is necessary for us all. Did anyone go to the opening cruise last night? Was there a boat? I guess not. Well, hope you found you a little something, last night, little friend, okay? Also, make sure you go to the exhibition hall. Have you been to the exhibition hall? Okay, great. I love hearing that. I want to make sure the next time you go into the exhibition hall, make sure you are touching base with the queer media that is in the room, okay? E3 Radio, okay, in the building. Swerve Magazine in the building, okay? Make sure you're checking out the creator stage. Hope Giselle was over there earlier today dropping gems. okay? Getting us all together, all right? And then right next door to the creator stage is a bookseller, an independent bookseller, okay? And they happen to have a little book, okay? Oh, I'm gonna let you know, don't worry. I'm gonna let you know. They have a lot of great books, okay, by beautiful, wonderful queer and trans authors. They also have a book by this wonderful and beautiful Black queer and trans authoress, okay? It's called We See Each Other, a Black trans journey through TV and film. Okay, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, we see each other. Turn to your other neighbor and say, neighbor, we see each other. Now you know the name of my book. Make sure you go pick up a copy of it, all right? I will be here afterwards signing copies right in the front. You ain't even got to go nowhere. We bring the books to you, okay? So do me a favor. Now that I have gotten that out the way, I will get back and do my job like they have me here, okay? Make sure you are checking out the Feed Loop app for all necessary updates and call to actions happening this week. And now we're going to get to a brief award presentation. Every year, the Leadership in Immigration Award is given to an individual who has demonstrated exceptional leadership and made significant contributions to our immigrant siblings across the U.S. This week, we have seen someone sworn into the White House on the basis of xenophobia and anti-immigrant fear. We know it is important now more than ever to present this exceptional honor. Please turn your attention to the screens for the presentation of the 2025 Leadership in Immigration Award.
Hello, 2025 Creating Change Familia. It is an honor to be here with all of you today in Las Vegas, Nevada. As uncertain times are ahead of us, what is certain is the power and love that our community has. My name is Montserrat Padilla. I am a program officer at the Satterberg Foundation. The Satterberg Foundation is proud to be an underwriter of this year's 2025 Leadership on Immigration Award. Please help me honor and welcome and celebrate Ana Andrea Molina as this year's 2025 Leadership on Immigration Award recipient. Ana Andrea Molina has been spearheading frontline defense efforts so that our LGBTQ siblings are supported and championed in detention and post-detention. She has built a powerful network of trans community in Texas. And now as we continue to see the attacks and hate in our community, I deeply believe, and community deeply believes, that Ana Andrea Molina has been spearheading and leading this efforts for power and love for our communities. Now, Ana Andrea Molina is an amazing leader. Her leadership has been felt at the state, local, and national level, and I believe that she will continue to rise for the occasion that this moment demands for. Thank you, Ana Andrea, for your leadership. Hermana, estoy súper orgullosa de ti, y a nuestro movimiento continuaremos luchando, no más deportaciones. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Agradezco a todos los que han hecho posible este reconocimiento y premio a las personas que trabajamos desde nuestras trincheras para nuestra comunidad LGBT migrante. Agradezco infinitamente y recibo humildemente este reconocimiento hoy por la lucha de nuestras comunidades. Actualmente la nueva administración amenaza a nuestras comunidades, pero esta nueva administración no es suficiente. Hemos estado aquí por muchísimo tiempo, estaremos aquí por muchísimo más, porque somos chingonas. Gracias, gracias por la oportunidad de esta plataforma y ese reconocimiento que humildemente me lo llevo a casa con todo el amor y con todo el corazón para seguir construyendo poder comunitario, para seguir luchando por nuestros derechos pro migrantes y LGBT. Muchísimas gracias desde el estado de Texas, donde ahora todo el país es Texas, porque estamos recibiendo todas las amenazas de parte de esta administración. Infinitamente muy agradecida y continuamos construyendo poder comunitario.
Absolutely. Give it to her. Next, I'd like to invite Jane Haskell to present the 2025 Carmen Vasquez Sage Award for Excellence in Leadership on Aging Issues. Please give her a round of applause.
It is my great honor to introduce this year's recipient of the Carmen Vasquez Sage Award for Excellence in Leadership on Aging Issues, an award that celebrates those whose advocacy for LGBTQ+ communities exemplifies the passion and leadership of Carmen Vasquez herself. Today, we honor Mandy Carter, a Black Southern lesbian activist with an extraordinary 58-year history of fighting for social, racial, and LGBTQ+ justice. Since 1967, Mandy has been a beacon of change and empowerment and truly represents longevity of the movement. Described as the scientist of activism, Mandy has championed the voices of Black, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and same-gender loving people in the South and beyond. Yes, as the co-founder of Southerners on New Ground, or SONG, and the National Black Justice Coalition, Mandy has led efforts to amplify and protect the narratives, perspectives, and contributions of Black LGBTQ+ people, working to shift policy and culture, dismantle anti-Blackness, and LGBTQ+ same gender-loving bias. Yes, Mandy's legacy extends far beyond her activism. Everyone that I've met that knows Mandy has said nothing but amazing things about her. Yes, the Mandy Carter papers housed at Duke University's Rubenstein Rare Book and Manuscript Library ensure that her powerful story and experiences will inspire generations to come. Please join me in celebrating the unparalleled contributions of Mandy Carter as we present her with the Carmen Vasquez Sage Award. Congratulations, Mandy.
Thank you. Oh.
Is my mic working? Carmen Vasquez was the oldest of 7 children, born in Puerto Rico and raised in Harlem. After graduating from City University in New York, she moved to San Francisco, where she lived and worked for almost 2 decades. We know each other from our mutual San Francisco days, lesbians hanging out at the bars, San Francisco Women's Building, National Center for Lesbian Rights. But because of the incredible importance of organizing and facilitating the People of Color Institutes at Creating Change, that is what, 35 years before, and here we are. And I also want to do a shout out to Koya Whitefeather. So I love you all, and I know Carmen is with us right now. And ironically, or maybe not so ironically, and very emotionally, she said, if I don't make it there, Mandy, you know you're going to carry it on. But I have an extended invitation. If you have a phone in your hand, please put this into your phone. This is an extended invitation. The 60th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery Bridge crossing is happening March 6th through the 9th. We need to be there. We need to be queer. We need to figure out how this is all related. SelmaJubilee.com. SelmaJubilee.com. Organizing Southerners on New Ground, National Black Justice Coalition, the task force. All of us need to be a part of that and bring the children. Not if, but when. Thank you.
You want me to? Okay. All right. Okay. We're coming back. You can clap again. I know it get tiring. Okay. But you get to look at all of this again. Okay. All right. For real, for real. Let's be serious. Now it is time for a powerful conversation that began last year in New Orleans, saving the democracy. We are welcoming back. I'm going to have the whole panel come on out as I introduce you. They can keep the applause going. Starting with our moderator. You know her, you love her, okay? My sister and possibility model in journalism herself, Amara Jones of Translash Media. Okay, and on the panel, we will have President of the National LGBTQ Task Force Action Fund, Kiera Johnson, Scott Nakagawa of 22nd Century Initiative, Maury Turner, former Oklahoma State Representative and current Director of Digital Organizing Communications from Freedom, Oklahoma, and Executive Director of Blueprint North Carolina, Dr. Serena Sebring. Come on out, beautiful people.
If you were here yesterday, you'll remember that I was told to slow down and use a sexy pace. Our ASL interpreter said, hey, slow down. Don't be a turtle, just make it sexy. And I am here for them. Right? I'm here for y'all. I'm gonna slow down. Good evening, and thanks for being with us here tonight. I want to start first with saying there is someone who was with us on this stage last year for this panel about democracy and the rise of fascism in this country that will not be with us this year because they are on a journey beyond. We will be honoring Koya White Hat Artichoker tomorrow. And until then, I'd like to take just a few seconds, just a few moments to hold that brilliant, beautiful light before we begin tonight. I would be remiss if we ended a moment for Koya quietly. Koya was not quiet. So we are also going to take a moment and be really loud. So raise your voices, raise your hands, raise your body, raise your spirit for Koya. Yes, you know she's loving this shit. You already know she's loving this shit. Yes. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Before we move into our panel, I'm going to give a little context around that, but before I do that, I wanted to address something that I think many of you know, some of you may not, and it's percolating. Donald Trump. Fuck him. Oh, wait, is this, I think this is being live streamed. Damn it, you ain't supposed to be making me say things. What I meant to say was, fuck him. Many of you may have already heard, it is public, it broke yesterday. Our president, Donald Trump is gonna be here in Las Vegas tomorrow. Did you say invite him to the conference? Look, listen. Donald Trump and his team are they're gonna arrive in Las Vegas tomorrow evening. What's today, Thursday? Tomorrow evening, Friday. There is a press conference planned for Saturday morning about the no taxing of tips and to appreciate Nevada for giving their vote to him, supposedly. And so that is happening. We didn't want space and time to go by without acknowledging it and saying a few words about it. What I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to read a response about that from us that you will all get in your text or email. There are a lot of people that aren't here, so that's another reason we're digitizing it, but I want you to hear it from me in the flesh. The subject is not pressed. You like that? Not, because it's a press conference and we're not pressed. You see that? Cute, right? Dear Creating Change community, this Saturday, Donald Trump will visit Las Vegas to hold a press conference on his no on tax tips policy. This news may feel infuriating, unsettling, or distracting, especially as he continues to scapegoat the LGBTQ plus community in his efforts to erode and demolish democracy. Over the next 4 years, we can expect an increase in authoritarian tactics designed to provoke and divide. In the face of this, it's crucial to balance the urgency of the moment with the long-term strategy of the movement, right? This is the time to strengthen our shared vision and resolve, not to allow distractions to pull us away from the transformative and strategic work happening at Creating Change and in our communities. We will not let a hostile administration dictate our next or any move, nor will we play defense to the right-wing agenda. Our work here is far more significant than his press conference. In this critical moment, the most impactful action we can take is to stay present, grounded, and unified in the extraordinary gathering built through our collaborative work over years and dedication. This is the time to hold steady, build your base, and resist distractions that pull us from our critical work. Take advantage of this space and spend time deepening your network and resolve. Look for sessions, workshops, caucuses, art spaces, faith leaders, activists, and community care bears that were built by you, for you, and with this exact moment in mind. Connect with our queer elders who have endured and resisted before. Queer elders in the house. I actually want to pause right here. Who is 50 and older in this house? Who is 60 and older in this house? Do we have elders that are 70 or older in this house? Y'all, ain't nobody got a toolbox more packed than ours. Nobody. Together, we are resistance. We keep us safe. And we need each other now more than ever to return home skilled up, fortified, and motivated for the critical work needed for the work ahead. As Bayard Rustin reminds us, we are all one. And if we don't know it, we will learn it the hard way. You know I like a call and a response. So we're going to say that call and response style. We are all one. There's a gang more of y'all in here. We are all one. We are all one. And if we don't know it, we will learn it the hard way. Together, we've created a vital incubator for unity, a hub of resources, strategy, and support on the ground that can guide us and support us. Together, we are creating change rooted in resistance, strength, and love, and we shall not be moved. That's the end of the letter. We have built this space for us and by us. Is it a perfect one? No. But I promise you this, it's the space that is going to keep us fortified and affirmed and safe while he's over at Trump Towers, right? This is our space. I want you to know we take this seriously. Our safety team is in conversations with the hotel security. Hotel security is in conversation with Metro PD. Metro PD is in conversations with FBI. I'm not saying they're going to keep us safe. I'm saying we are connected so we can get as much information to our people from their people. I want you to know that in my heart, I hope that y'all don't go out and protest. I would never, ever, not never tell you what you should do, can do. That shit is dumb. But what I will say is, we have no idea what we're up against. We have no idea what we're up against. And if you do decide to make that move, be extra vigilant. We have workshops about safety and security, about what can keep you safe when you are protesting. You should never be going anywhere out in those streets alone. Look after yourselves and each other. Our Care Bears, it sounds really cute, but it's actually really important. These aren't just people walking around being cute. The Care Bears are professionals. They are counselors. They are folks trained in grief and trauma support. They are community care folks, and they've been doing this for a long time. And they are here at your service. Who are the lawyers in the house? Any lawyers in the house? I'm not gonna badmouth you, it's a good thing. I know we talk shit about y'all sometimes. Okay, any lawyers in the house? This is really critical, y'all. We have legal clinics right now scheduled. Some I think have happened already. Direct response, heard it from you all. There are questions about what your rights are as it relates to family formation, documents, your money, your beneficiaries, your citizenship, your status in this country if you don't have papers. We have folks on the premises who are already doing legal clinics, and if you need one-on-one support, see the Care Bears, because we've got folks who are willing to meet with you one-on-one, because we keep us safe. What else I gotta tell y'all? Feed Loop. Y'all are all on Feed Loop. Most of y'all are on Feed Loop. As things progress, as there's new information, we will keep you in the loop. Feed Loop. Ha! You see what I did right there? We're gonna keep you in the loop via Feed Loop. Pay attention to that. If there's anything super intense or important that you need to know, that's gonna be the first way things go out. What I will also say to close this piece out, where we are in this hotel called the Rio is in the convention center. It is important for you to know that this is considered private space by the hotel, meaning law enforcement cannot just come in here. They are allowed in public space. If you do not have a badge, this is considered private property and you do not get to pass. Oh, you see how I'm rhyming again? If you ain't got a badge, you don't get to pass. What? Okay. There's no way to guarantee safety for all of us all the time, but I want you to hear that we have taken this seriously and we are doing what we can, our due diligence, and we need your help, right, in holding all of us in this time. And so with that, can we take a deep breath together? Love you. Love you. Now we about to turn up. Okay. Now I gotta switch gears. It's slippery up here. I am really excited about this panel that, oh my God, I didn't see you. Are you gonna be here for the rest of the conference? Oh my God, I love you so much. I'll see you in a minute. Last year, we did a panel that was about how do we fortify, save, rebuild our democracy, and what do we do with the rising fascism that's taking root in this country? Had a phenomenal panel. We have a 2.0 version of this that is about to happen right now. That part. And what I want you to know is that these are the conversations that I am hopeful that you begin taking back into your own community if you aren't already. It is a really difficult tension right now to be able to both hold the severity of the time and inspire folks to take up the work to build and rebuild, to stay in it. And our panelists are gonna give you so much food for thought. It is gonna be provocative, it's gonna be funny, it's gonna make your head hurt, it's going to feed you. And with that, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of the panel or the rest of this plenary and the conference. I'll see you tomorrow. And with that, Tre'vell, you're up, boo.
Thank you. It is, girl. I done bust my behind almost twice up here in front of these people. Hey, y'all. Okay, I'm back to do it again. Thank y'all for being. I appreciate you, doctor. Okay. We're going to get into our powerful conversation. As I mentioned, our moderator, you know her, you love her. Please give it up for Amara Jones of Translash Media. And joining the panel is our president of the National LGBTQ Task Force Action Fund, Kiara Johnson. We have Scott Nakagawa of 22nd Century Initiative. Maury Turner, former Oklahoma State Representative and current Director of Digital Organizing and Communications from Freedom, Oklahoma. And Dr. Serena Sebring, Executive Director of Blueprint NC. Thank y'all so much.
Is this thing on? So welcome. I don't know about you. I came in from New York last night. And I'm still trying to thaw out. So if any of you have suggestions about how I can get warm, you just feel free to let me know. Morris Chestnut, that's a really good place to start. That's a good place to start. Thank you all for joining us for this very sobering conversation that we're going to have this evening. There are so many different things that you can be doing right now. There are receptions, there is your bed, there is the restaurant, there is the club, there's the strip club. There are a lot of other things that you could be doing, but you're choosing to be here to have a very serious conversation about where we are. And I want to let you know that because of the people that are on this stage, this conversation is going to be deep. This conversation is not going to shy away from the tough and hard things. Because there's nothing that can be changed that must first not be faced. So we have to face whatever it is. If you want to change it, you have to look it squarely in the face. And that's what we're going to do tonight. I want to say that as we move through this conversation, because of the news about Donald Trump, because there is, a gun show somewhere around here, it's America, that, there are a lot of things that you may be processing and absorbing and feeling in your body. And so I just want to encourage you that when you feel those feelings, to do what you know that you need to do in order to take care of yourself, whether it is not to practice your breathing, whether or not it is to grab the person's next to you hand, but with consent, you know what I'm saying? Whether or not it is to remind yourself to come back into the room, whether it is that you have to get up and walk down the aisle or go out and come back in. But do what you need to do in order to take care of yourself as we move through these conversations. I also want to say that I think that it's really important for us to remember that so many of us feel alone in a variety of ways. And that I want you to just take a moment to look around you right now to remind yourself that you're not alone. You're not in this space alone. You are in and with and around other people who want to have the same conversation. You are in and around people who are invested in your safety and in your support. You are in and around people who also want to feel a way and figure out a way to move through where we are. So I think it's very important when we have this conversation. So I just want to level set a little bit before we move into this conversation. And I kind of have to do that because I wrote the people on the panel yesterday, and I was like, I'm blowing up the panel. I'm changing the name. And everything that you thought might happen is not going to happen. And that continued today with us changing out the panel and adding people due to unforeseen events, right? And that's the reality of 2025. It's us getting into the practice of not being obsessed with what we think should happen or what we expect it to happen, but what actually is happening. And how do we respond and deal with that? Right? How do we keep not letting us be a prisoner of our expectations? Because if our expectations are taken away from us, then we are more easily controlled. So how do we build in sort of flexibility, day-to-day flexibility in how we move and do things? So I told them that I was changing the name of the panel to anybody who works with me. I'm like, why do you do this? You know I'm going to come in and do something different. But here we are. So the name of the panel is Surviving a Possible Fascist Future. And I think that that's important because things quickly moved away from the idea of preserving democracy, preserving something the thing that we thought that we had and were doing, and moving into a much more contested space, where there's a very firm alternative vision about how things should be ordered, who should be ordered, who matters. And the word possible is in there because it's not predetermined, right? We forget that there were also more than 70 million people that voted for an alternative vision as well. Right? It's not like it was, 100 to 1. Even with everything they did, they won, but didn't get a majority. And they had to do a lot of things. I was going to say another word, but they had to do a lot of things to eke out that win. So we can't lose that reality in this either. I also just wanted to say that, I run Translash Media, and at Translash we do a lot of different things. Thank you. We have several podcasts. We have documentaries, actually one documentary that we did with PBS that was nominated for a GLAAD Award yesterday. Okay. Also, as an organization, we were nominated for a GLAAD Award yesterday. We do zines, we have a writing platform, we have social media. There's a lot of things that we do. But one particular area of work that we focused on is investigating the fundamental connection between the drive towards authoritarianism and a Christian nationalist fascist vision in the United States and the attack on trans people. We do that through an investigative series podcast that we called The Anti-Trans Hate Machine. We've done 3 seasons. We're now going into our 4th season now. Started that work in 2020. So this is something that a topic that I've devoted 5 years of my life to. And we're among the earliest to say that you cannot protect democracy without protecting trans people. It's actually impossible. It's a fool's errand. And you may not understand that. The other people that are supposed to be a part of our coalition may not understand that. But the Christian nationalists and authoritarians certainly understand that. They see that quite clearly. And it's one of the reasons why they have devoted so much of themselves and their project and their money and their time and their billionaires and a whole host of other things to that enterprise for that reason. And when the first year, people kind of scratched their head. What is this? I don't really understand it, even though it's clear as day. And then second year, people started to get it. We started to roll along. And I have to say that for all of that time and all of that resources and all of the things that we did, I personally woke up after the election the next day feeling like a failure. I felt that I'd failed. I felt that I hadn't been clear enough or loud enough or done enough things. And I don't share that because so many of you I know have felt the same way and feel the same way about a variety of areas that you work in. Whether or not it be housing and homelessness, whether or not it be about economic justice, whether or not it be a lot of things. But we're in this project, this democratic project with other people. And they have to get what we're saying. It's not only us. You see, it's not only our responsibility. We are in league with other people. And so our only job in a moment like this is to keep going. It's literally the only job you have. So I just want to say a little bit about the moment, and then we're going to engage in a conversation. Well, you'll be hearing more from them than from me. But there's a conversation always about whether or not the United States is a fascist regime, a fascistic regime. We've been hearing that for a really long time. We were talking if you marched against the Gulf War in 2000 and whatever 4 that was. People were saying that George Bush is a fascist, But I think that one of the things that we realize is that you feel when you're actually closer to a fascist regime. There's something that fundamentally feels different in how you move and how things are moving and what's happening. And just in the last 2 days, there have been a slew of things that are happening which point towards a possible fascist vision. Not only redefining male and female, militarizing the border, a Secretary of Defense who's close to saying that he will use US troops against American citizens, deportating people without justification. Today there were raids across the country, one in Newark in which they swept up people who were citizens and who were not. And the people who were citizens, ICE was saying that they didn't believe that their papers were actually real. That was today. It happened today. Elimination of DEI, not recognizing that race is still an issue, saying that the problem in the United States is that white people are being discriminated against. So we're going to have a Justice Department and a Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department, which is actually about protecting white people from discrimination. And if that wasn't enough, and there are so many more, but if that wasn't enough, I just read before we came on stage that there was the introduction today of this possible constitutional amendment that a Republican congressman from Tennessee wants to have that would eliminate term limits for the president from 2 terms to 3 terms. And then, but that only apply if the president had 2 non-consecutive terms. So that's the world that we're dealing with. I think that we can firmly say that the United States right now isn't an authoritarian regime. Authoritarian is the submission of the will of the individual to that of the person in authority or people in authority. We're definitely there. We were talking about possibly being there last year. We're there now. Fascism is a little harder. And this is where I think we'll talk about the possibilities here. Fascism has to have a series of things that are at work, right? You have to have militaristic nationalism. You have to have a war on culture and control of culture by those in power and authority. No culture outside of the culture of the state. You have to have the belief in the government by elites. You have to believe and eliminate electoral democracy. Like those are the elements of fascism. And we can see that there's a move towards those things, but we haven't totally gotten there yet. I also wanted to say before beginning our conversation is that where fascism and sexual orientation and gender identity link is always. Like always. Like the very first thing, one of the very first things that the Nazi regime did, the first book burning they did, was they ransacked the Institute of Sexology in Berlin, I believe it was, and then took out all of the books and the history and the documentation around gender identity and how you actually can treat gender dysphoria in the 1930s, and had a massive book burning. And that started the book burning craze in Nazi Germany. So there's a way in which our very identities and democracy, the preservation of democracy, and or the birth of fascism are deeply, deeply connected. And so what we're gonna do today is to talk about some of those connections, and then to talk about the possibilities to make sure that the possible fascist future doesn't actually come about. So Scott, you were on this panel with me last year. And one of the things that you said that was kind of a signature moment in that conversation was that we're not in a fascist regime yet, and I know that we're not in a fascist regime because all of us are in this room. That if we were truly there, we wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if you can just talk to us a little bit about that that reality about fascism and how it expressed itself, and sprinkle in some examples from history that help us clarify where we are and where we aren't.
Okay, well, first of all, hello everybody. Thanks so much for giving us your attention. I consider it a great privilege. The title of this, speaking of a possible fascist future, I think is important because fascism is possible. But we need to keep in mind as we think about this that the boundaries of possibility have been radically expanded in every way. And so it's not just that the threat of fascism is out there or other forms of authoritarianism. There's also the opportunity to build alternatives. And so just keep that in mind as you listen, because some of this will be hard. But I want to start off by talking about fascism by kind of doing a definitional thing here, right? So for those of you who don't know, I write a blog called the Anti-Authoritarian Playbook, I almost forgot, for my organization, the 22nd Century Initiative, and I actually coincidentally was just working on a blog post on this very subject. So fascism is a far-right authoritarian political ideology characterized by certain core elements, and I'll just list them off for you. The first one is ultranationalism, or emphasis on national or racial, usually, superiority, and tied to a mythologized past. So the story of the past is that the fascist constituency once had it really great and made America great, like in this current context. And that obstacles have been put in the way, that the state has been made impure and must now be purged of those impure elements in order to regain that status. There's highly centralized authority, and the reason why I said that we wouldn't all be here if this was a fascist state is because fascism tolerates no dissent and is deeply anti-democratic. It will not tolerate liberal institutions that exist to protect individuals and minority groups, and relies heavily on militarism and violence and the glorification of violence in order to enforce its will. There's mass mobilization and propaganda, there's suppression of opposition, and something called corporatism, which is a merging of state and corporate power to direct economic and social policy while crushing labor and independent unions. So that's generally what fascism is. So, there are a lot of similarities between where the U.S. is going and is now and that, in that there has been a great deal of undermining of democratic norms. We are surrounded by propaganda, and the propaganda is highly nationalistic. It is ethnic nationalism. It is Christian nationalism. It is, all the kinds of nationalism you can imagine, and that it's presented to us with the idea that these forms of the nation are under attack, and they're under attack by people like us, right? There is a great glorification of violence. I mean, we just saw that President Trump, just pardoned over 1,500 people who were involved in a violent insurrection on January 6th a few years ago. And targeting of marginalized groups. We all know that because we are in marginalized groups. And that intertwining of corporate power and political influence is underway, right? And you saw evidence of this in the inauguration when you saw Trump step up on that dais with all of those aspiring plutocrats, those super billionaires who stared down Congress and the public, right, in a show of power. But there are also some differences, and the differences are super important for us to keep in mind, right? Because unlike fascist states, the authoritarian right in the United States lacks a unified ideology. So it's not ideologically cohesive, it's not all one thing. There's a mix of many kinds of players, including Christian nationalists, there are neoliberals in the mix, white nationalists in the mix, and they use overlapping tactics but lack a single cohesive idea about what it is that the state looks like in the future for them. There's institutional resistance. There are still institutions in the United States that are defending our rights and freedoms, right? We saw that the last time Trump was elected when, for example, the Muslim ban got taken down. And while there's significant corporate influence in the U.S. economy remains largely capitalist. as opposed to a kind of statist economy, without the state-led corporatist structure of typical fascism. So, you know, for example, Philippines under the first Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos, the banks were nationalized, right? That's not happened here yet. There are many, many players in this movement who have conflicting, often, ideologies. And there's still, in the United States, diversity and pluralism, right? So all of those things still exist. So we're really not, it's not fascism yet. What we have is a kind of a mixed bag. And it's important for us to know that because that should inform the strategies we move. Because these people actually do have conflicts between them. There are distinctions and differences. They don't all agree on where we should be going. And many of the people who are make up the base of the movement aren't even sure where they are politically in this movement. But what they do know is that somebody's calling their name without heaping on shame and saying, this is for you, at a time when many of us feel like none of it is, right? So I think that those important distinctions are things that as people who want to organize resistance, we need to keep in mind, because all of those cracks represent opportunities.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think about, what you said as well, is like when you have something moving like this that's big, that the power of the small is also where resistance can form. And I'm just thinking about the courage that Bishop Budd had the other day and the way in which that has resonated across the country. And today they asked her to apologize for her words. And she says, I'm never gonna apologize to ask for mercy on behalf of other people.
Yes.
And said it to Trump's face, literally said it to Trump's face. Or a judge today who said that, who ruled that the move to end birthright citizenship couldn't move forward, at least for a couple of weeks, because they had never seen something so unconstitutional happen ever in their career, right? So like, what you're saying is that like, there's still enough space in what is happening now for those types of small acts to have big impact.
Yeah, and we should not underestimate that space. We need to protect that space. We have massive amounts of power if we can collectivize it. So you know that moment I described when they're all standing on the dais, all these super billionaires, and they're staring us down? Well, you know, fuck them, right? Because their banks can't function without our deposits, right? We need to be able to collectivize our power so that making that statement is not just an idle threat. You know, we actually can organize a run on the bank. And then where would they be? We went through 2008. We know what happens, right, when the banks fail. So, you know, don't let them push you back yet.
Serena, I think this is a really good place to go next in terms of what Scott just said about what we can do through collective action, because that's what Blueprint North Carolina is, the nearly 100 organizations that you pulled together across a variety of issues into a political force in your state that has both created possibilities and also created the focus of people that you know, have put your life in danger sometimes.
Thanks, Imara. It was good, queers. It was good. It was good, y'all. If we haven't met yet, my name is Serena. I'm Executive Director of Blueprint North Carolina. And as Imara just said, we're a coalition of over 100 formal partner organizations across the state and an expanding web of network allies. Just to give you a sense of the scale of these organizations' work, last year in North Carolina, Blueprint partners collectively registered over 300,000 voters. Oh yeah, you can clap for that. You can clap for that. Because what happened then was that they broke the supermajority, the veto-proof supermajority that had held our state by its neck. And so I just want to say, even now, even as some of us, myself included, woke up the day after thinking, did we fail? Mm-hmm. We also won. And so I think we need to also tell a story about this election that acknowledges the wins. And I know that's just my story in North Carolina. I know there's other stories out here. Tell those stories too. Why? Because we need to celebrate the wins that we have so that we can keep on going. I really feel like the answer to this moment is to understand this is a possible future, fascism, but also a certain past, right? We know in the South, Southerners, where you at? Southerners, where you at? some of the definitions that Scott and Imara just shared with us sound pretty familiar to our people's past, right? When we think about what it means to have total control over a population, over its culture, over its military, over the use of violence. We understand as stolen people on stolen land what that means in our bodies. And it's time to tap back into the lessons of our ancestors, lest we visit that past in the possible future. That is what we can do. The truth that history brings is that actually no one is coming to save us. No one is coming to save us. That's true. That's true. But the good news is that we're also the ones who we've been waiting for. We are. Today, as we were before November, as we were 200 years ago when we had to meet in clearings in the fields to out-organize the haters. That's literally what we got to do. We need to listen to the lessons of our ancestors who have taught us to organize, who have taught us to hope, who have taught us to persevere, and to understand that that doesn't come by taking a shrunken posture. That doesn't come if we decide in advance they're already more powerful than we are. That comes if we understand that as the many who can make those deposits or not in those banks, we have all the power that we need. I'll say it again because I don't know if y'all heard me. We actually have all the power that we need in this moment. This room is a testament. Mandy Carter, who just got that award, her work is a testament.
That's right.
Our people have refused to go back in the closet for generations now. And so we gather by the thousands in Vegas. Hello, somebody. So I'm just saying we need to not underestimate our own power and also not overestimate theirs. There are still more of us.
Yeah.
You know, Maury, former state representative, Oklahoma state representative, Maury Turner. You know, the Kennedy Presidential Library every year gives out an award to a politician that's called, you know, their Profile and Courage Award. And I think last year or recently it went to Liz Cheney, but there may be a better candidate at the end of this row right here. And the reason why I say that is that every day you went up to a state capitol that was controlled by the people who were essentially passing laws that mimic things that we're talking about that were essentially proto-fascist. And that wasn't only a democratic debate for you in terms of debating the laws and showing up, but it also became really personal in terms of how you were targeted and how they treated you. And I think that it's in your story is illuminated the obsession that was had with trans people in the closing days of the election. And I'm wondering what you can tell us from your experience about the people up close that are behind these laws, that have this alternative vision. Like, what did you learn from serving with them?
Yeah, that's a big one. A lot. I think in my time in the Oklahoma legislature, at the time I was the first Muslim that Oklahoma had ever elected to the state legislature, and the first trans person, I guess, openly trans person elected to the state legislature. And then the first openly non-binary person elected to a state-level position in U.S. history. And I think it did kind of like really mirror what was going on in the nation in like this way, like holding, like being Black, trans, queer, Muslim in the buckle of the Bible Belt was like, and choosing to live openly like that was made the legislature a really interesting experience. Before I went into the Oklahoma legislature, I was an organizer with the American Civil Liberties Union of Oklahoma. And like being the culmination of things that we see. For sure. Thank you. Okay, thank you. But essentially what I'm saying is that like I went into this place and I'm the type of person that likes to cross their T's and dot their I's, and so I tried to have as many meetings as possible with folks who were already elected in the building before I was elected, like while I was running for office, to see not just like what it would look like to work in this body against Republicans, but also like how much of it was also internal conversations like with Democrats, you know? Being an organizer and going into a space like that, I think specifically what I'm trying to say is that there is so much organizing that I think we are trying to do externally, and we also need to make sure that we are having those conversations internally too. Because I think it's one thing to say, like, I support trans people, I support religious freedom, right? I support the 2S LGBTQ plus communities. But then when you get an opportunity to write ethical policies, right, to write deeply intentional and intersectional policies and live those values behind closed doors, those things get harder, right? And I think one of the big conversations that I've been hearing around here is that a lot of the times we join these coalitions and we say like, yeah, like here is the end goal and it is for trans liberation, but we all have different ideas of how we get there. And that means that there are people who could be left out sometimes when we are not having conversations also about the way we get to liberation, right? And so being in this body and in the Oklahoma legislature taught me a lot about, I think, the internal difficult dialogues that we have, right? Because I think it was tough to try to field conversations from like Democrats around like how there is only female and male anatomies, and like realizing that we do those, like we actively are fighting against those things on the House floor, but like we are having the same conversations with Democrats behind closed doors. And so we have to be able to say the thing plainly, communicate with people in the language that they know best, right? And also be willing to hold each other accountable and close, right? Like, it is, I think we're also in a time where we have to be ready and willing to listen to the accountability and to do the course correcting, right? Because we are in this very critical time, right? Headed in this very critical direction, and we get to choose how we do that with one another and making sure that we are building coalitions with one another, joining the community garden, right? Like having the community conversation space, the mutual aid space, making sure that folks can pay the bills, like that is a part of the here and now, right? That's the work that we're doing too. And so the legislature taught me so much more about community organizing in communities and political organizing, and it was a really expensive prize too, so.
Yeah, it's interesting how you have to constantly actually engage the people who say that they're on your side.
Yeah.
Right. It's not only about fighting externally, it's about all of the ongoing work that you have to continuously do inside as well. Let's turn to possibilities, right? So we painted a little bit about, the darkness and some of the challenges. I'm wondering if we can talk about in this moment, right? We've moved closer, but we're not there yet. They clearly are pushing hard. They have a vision. They have the momentum right now, they think, and they're executing, right, hard. It's clear that they have a vision, and they're just going through the checklist of the things that they're checking off. And I think that one of the things that's happening in this initial onslaught is that it's perhaps closing the idea of possibility. Right, that's one of the things that you have to do as a fascist, is that you have to close down the idea that things are actually possible, and that's one of the things that's happening in this onslaught. But in this moment, what are you all seeing with the possibilities? And this can be just jump ball, whoever wants to go first. Like, what are you seeing as the possibility, and what do you think we need to do to take advantage of those moments?
I think for me, I think we get to be organizers and community advocates and like do this work together because we always have a hope for something more, right? To be able to be in community and not have to critically think about the body system, right? Like, and to continue to show up and come to spaces like this means that there is so much more possibility and connection with one another for something greater, right? And I think it's also like, you know, and some days it's harder to hold on to that and to envision that, right? But continuously when I see spaces like this, right, as somebody who grew up in the buckle of the Bible Belt, like that's power. I think about like what it looked like to try to navigate coming out to friends and family and being openly out now and all of the possibilities that I didn't think were this reality. Or even think about having this reality or making it to this age, right? So maybe that's a roundabout way of saying like in the youth, right? Like being able to see people freedom dreaming of things that I could have never imagined. And I'm like, and we do get an opportunity to create that. And like, I want to do that. That's energizing. And like, and I don't want to lose my home to fascism, you know? And I'm just a small town kid from Oklahoma. And I get to do that work every day. And like, that's empowering. Like, I love that so much. So, and I get to do that with you all. And that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see possibility in this moment in a couple of ways, maybe like small and big. So in this moment, like right now, there's a possibility that our courage might invite more courage. That your courage, Imara, invites my courage. That the people next to you will sustain in this moment in ways that invite more of us, people who may have given up hope, because it is a tough moment. And so I think even now, and in every moment, the possibility is that we find more of us, that we find more courage within ourselves, and that we make that possible for more. I think if I think a little bit, well, a lot bigger. The possibility right now is to build the democracy, the anti-racist and inclusive democracy that has not existed yet to date. It has not. So when we talk about protecting or saving democracy, I think some of us roll our eyes a little bit, because where and when has that actually happened in U.S. history? So it is in the possible, the realm of the possible, that an anti-racist and inclusive democracy is ours to create. And I believe that we do that by organizing, not by small organizing, not by organizing for elites or just for some of us, but by big organizing, by making more room for people who have felt left out of our rooms, and by finding our people in ways that fold more of us in, that expands the circle out, because we actually will need to do that work. We will need to also look at the models of ways that we have expanded, that we have grown, that we have built base. I think about labor organizing here as something that we should be looking to, and the ways that we find our people in the struggle. We don't find our people when we're real comfortable, right? If we were really comfortable, we'd probably be at home or at the bar, or I don't know, maybe playing slots right now. But we're uncomfortable, so good. Let's find some other folks who are uncomfortable and build some power together. Yeah. And at Blueprint, I will say that takes the form of infrastructure building. Y'all know what I mean when I say infrastructure? No, okay, good, let's talk about it. What I mean the bones of our movement. I mean the structure, the part that holds us together, gives us straightness in our spine to withstand, and connective tissue. That's what I mean when I say infrastructure. And I think it is a time not to build in reactiveness, but to continue to invest in and build upon those infrastructure building projects that we have been inside of for some time. creating change, the task force, massive infrastructure here, right? Massive, and it didn't start yesterday. And if we had, we would be too late, but we're not too late. We're not. We're here in the stream of a legacy of saying we need to build for the long term, for the possibility of a future in which we set the governing power, in which we get to create a political landscape, not in which we are impacted by it, but in which our people, Black people, brown people, queers, trans folks, and working class people all understand that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. So I think it is for us in movement an opportunity to see the possibility of growing our infrastructure. And what that creates is a new political reality beyond the right now. And it only happens if we do that work of your courage invites my courage. Come to this thing with me, you know? Let's come with me, let's go. I can't get there without you. You can't get there without me. But together we could create an actual anti-racist and inclusive democracy that is not just a promise to our children's children, but an answer to our ancestors' sacrifices.
So for me, this time abounds with opportunity. I mean, people look at me like I'm crazy because I often am very enthusiastic going into what might be otherwise really difficult situations. And the reason for it is because I think that we've been basically trying to create change for many, many decades now with blinders on. We have not been paying attention to the world around us. Did you know that over 70% of the people of the world live under autocratic governments now? The entire context for the kind of organizing and work, the kinds of things that we want to achieve has changed. There is a global network of autocrats that teach each other and learn from the resistance they face in their communities to teach other people how to anticipate it and get ahead of it. You know, all of those things are happening around us. We have been trying to create change through the lens of nostalgia in many ways, right? We have basically settled for a two-party system that functions like a duopoly and makes so much not possible, right? We now see the failure of that, and more people are seeing it all the time. This is an opportunity to start to reach out, to build international bonds of solidarity, to learn from partners around the world who have actually resisted authoritarianism, who are succeeding, who are winning under much more extraordinarily repressive circumstances than we've ever faced. It's an opportunity for us to see what we're made of, right? And to start to flex our democratic muscles and to start to think creatively and differently. What we're facing now is a historical reality all over the world, that globalization has made the old nation-state system and ideas of national sovereignty obsolete, right? But we keep seeing our two parties trying to make public policy through the lens of nostalgia for that past time when national sovereignty was understood in a very isolationist and very different way than it can possibly be humanely understood today. So those challenges are now before us, and we have the wherewithal to take them on. And I think the taking on of those challenges will help us to humanize ourselves, to think of ourselves quite differently, not just left, right. You know, that's not how most people live in the world. You know, not just black and white, right and wrong, this and that. You know, like there's so many possibilities that we've left behind, and forcing ourselves into these kind of modern ideas about governance. We need to be able to do more, right? We need to break out of the categories we've been put in, and we need to be able to start to reach for more than we ever imagined we could reach for. And by doing that, I promise you, we will ignite the imaginations of a public that at this point is just fed up with how government does business, who are living in a context where they feel like religion is failing, where they feel like traditions no longer have relevance, and where their identities no longer have meanings. We know that. We understand that because we are people who had to claim our identities and dignify them for ourselves, right? But imagine the person who grew up in a company town where the factory left and all of the traditions of that community have now collapsed. People no longer just go all shop at the same store. They no longer go to church together on Sunday. You know, however repressive these settings are, for some people, this gave them meaning, right? So they're looking too. It's an opportunity to open the door to see other ways we can be.
One of the things that I think is really important, and we honestly had another round that we were supposed to do, but we're coming up on time after having pushed into your evening already. This particular panel could go on, and every single other plenary panel at Creating Change could be tackling an aspect of what we were talking about in this. So this is a very full conversation, and one that we're going to have to keep having. I wanted to end on that conversation of possibility because I had a conversation recently with the person who had the last national independent free news network in Russia. It closed and was kicked out personally. Well, Vladimir Putin ordered it to be closed personally in March of 2022. And I was talking to her, and because like Scott says, authoritarians all learn from each other, and pretty much everywhere in the world where you see an explosion of authoritarianism, it is always starts with trans people and with the LGBTQ community. It's just like, they all know that, and they know how to do it. In a major speech to justify the Ukrainian war, Putin in 2022 went on a massive anti-trans rant. Like out of nowhere in a stadium of 60,000 people, just went on this anti-trans rant. So again, there are these connections. But I was talking to her about what we're facing and what she faced. And she said, Putin came to power, and in many ways came to power doing some of the same things that you're seeing happening right now. But I want to let you know that even in a place like Russia, and even with a person like Vladimir Putin, we had many opportunities to stop him. And we missed every single one. So my advice to you is don't miss the opportunities. So what that means is that even as tough and challenging as this time is, there still is the possibility of turning it around. It's not a done deal. And the only way it'll be a done deal is if we think it's a done deal. That's the way it's a done deal. That's the way that it's over. And we know that across the world that authoritarians are trying to shut down the idea of possibility. And our very existence, as Scott says, is testament that there is always possibility. So many. And so I hope that you will all follow the work of these three incredible people and others. Please give them a giant round of applause. Have a good conference, stay safe, look after each other, and right now, go eat. Thank you all so much.
Can I say one thing?
Oh, wait, Scott wants to.
I want to say one thing. It's an invitation.
Yes.
So my organization, the 22nd Century Initiative, is hosting a conference in June from the 18th to the 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia, the 22nd Century Conference. It is an opportunity to meet and work with democracy reformers from around the world, and here in the United States, people who are opposed to authoritarianism, who are experts on the subject matter, and have fun together. And so look for us at 22ci.org. Registration is now open. Please join us. We would love to have you there.
Any last word? Go ahead, go for it.
Yes, wonderful.
And then more read too after.
On Saturday at 10:45 a.m., we'll be hosting a workshop on how we keep us safe. This is also an opportunity of this moment to gain skills for movement protection. So please come through Saturday at 10:45 a.m. It's called How We Keep Us Safe. We're in the program. Come see about us.
Maureen.
Well, I work for Freedom Oklahoma in Oklahoma, and I think we also have a lot of events coming up. We are starting a youth pen pal group And so if you are younger and you want to start reaching out to folks across the nation and you want more information about that, come see me and we can get you in the
And support Freedom Oklahoma and all of the small state organizations and trans organizations that are on the front lines. They are guardians of democracy too, and so they need your support as well in this moment. And since everybody's doing a plug, go to translash.org and sign up for the newsletter. Thank you all so much.
And we get one more round of applause for our panel. Thank you. All right, y'all. The variety show is tonight at 9 o'clock. Come see some people, have fun. And again, if you would like to support a Black trans author, you can come down here in front, okay? And they have wonderful copies of my book, We See Each Other, period. Okay, thank y'all so much. Enjoy dinner. See y'all tomorrow.